Hello, welcome to today's webinar, and thank you for attending our webinar session on assessing SAP S/4HANA transformation readiness with T-Systems. You will be sent a link of today's recorded session to the email address you provided at registration. Please use the Q&A window for any technical issues or content questions. We will address any technical issues right away and we'll answer as many of your content questions as we can during the presentation itself. As a reminder, you can type your question in the Q&A window at any time during the webinar, and we will do our best to respond quickly. We will also be having a formal Q&A session at the end of this webinar, where we will answer more questions live. Now I'd like to introduce our speakers for today. Carl Westphal, Head of Portfolio Unit, and Wolfram Langer, Regional Director, SAP Sales and Solutions, both with T-Systems. Carl, over to you.
Thanks, Aaron, and thank you everybody for joining us today. Today we will talk to you a little bit about transformation readiness and the programs and the accelerators that we offer to help you develop your personal roadmap to S/4HANA. I'm Carl Westphal, as Aaron mentioned, Head of Portfolio Unit SAP and T-Systems North America. And joining me today is my colleague, Wolfram Langer, the Regional Director of SAP Sales and Solutions. Here's a brief summary of what we're going to talk about today. Today I'm going to give you a little overview of T-Systems, who we are, our credentials and capability. And then we'll talk a bit about catalysts and the dynamics, the things that are driving you to S/4HANA. And then I'm going to hand you over to Wolfram for a deeper look into our readiness programs and the benefits of those programs. In the end, we'll have a wrap up and we'll talk about some key takeaways, and then we'll be available to answer your questions. All right, so let's get started. Let's talk a little bit about T-Systems. T-Systems is a global technology services provider and consulting company with $6.9 billion in revenue last year. We're headquartered out of Germany with 37,500 employees located worldwide. We project our capabilities through a network, if you will, of local business units, points of production, and data centers that are strategically located throughout the world where we can best serve our customers and our target markets. In terms of credentials, T-Systems is a long-standing SAP global partner. We're one of very few platinum partners that are end-to-end certified. This includes the full stack of our services: consulting, hosting, systems integration, application management. Some fun facts about us: we're the largest SAP hosting provider in the world. Many may not know that. We have over 10,000 instances of SAP under management, and we deliver over 1,000 SAP projects each year. Over to the right, you can see that we are globally recognized by many of the industry advisors as a leader and by SAP themselves. So here's a summary of our portfolio offerings. As you can see, we have a full spectrum of solutions and services. We have business enabling solutions in the areas of digitization and SAP, systems integration. We have the cloud platforms, public and private, infrastructure, and the services to enable them. And importantly, we have a very carefully chosen network of strategic partners that align very well with our Any Cloud strategy and enable us to bring the SAP Any Cloud strategy to the market. This next slide provides a glance of our transformation programs. So on the left are the ones that you see that we're going to talk a little bit about today, right? We're going to talk about HANA roadmap design, system readiness assessments, your application optimization, and your security architecture as they relate to S/4HANA. To the top right are some additional programs that we offer. As you can see, we've put a lot of thoughts into the elements of transformation. And then lastly, this object on the bottom, or this graphic on the bottom, is a model of how we take this information and ultimately transform it into a complete SAP on any cloud solution. So you can see from the bottom up, working at the different stack layers, infrastructure, cloud, public or private, again, and then moving up the layers of the solutions. We like to say that we have, obviously, SAP on any cloud is our branding, but we also like to use the word cloud agnostic, and that we support all the major cloud providers. our solutions. These are our 4 industries, or focus industries, I'll say, particularly here in North America. Each is facing its own unique challenges and forcing them to transform their business models and the basically supporting technologies. So in energy, we're seeing increased carve-outs, divestitures, and acquisitions. In healthcare, our healthcare customers, we're seeing constant pressure to drive down cost and increase efficiencies. Automotive has been very much disrupted, demands for innovation, plant automation, robotics, all while still maintaining tight cost controls and maintaining margins. And manufacturing, leaders are having to react to supply chain disruptions we've seen and maintaining business continuity, which all of that requires some advanced analytics and systems. All of these different challenges, frankly, are catalysts that drive you to transform. So we're going to talk a little more about catalysts. Here's our view of the 4 fundamental catalysts that ultimately drive transformation. First being technology. The size and the complexity of the data sets, frankly, are becoming well beyond what the current legacy infrastructures can handle. Digitalization is driving new requirements. IoT, big data, all of those things are requiring more modern applications and more advanced functionality. Plant automation, robotics, all again are requiring new capability that you find in applications such as Leonardo. Business processes are becoming more sophisticated, and usability has become a much more important topic. I think many of you that have attended Sapphire realize that UX, or user experience, has become a very hot topic because it directly affects employee productivity. And of course, the demand for mobility and access continues to increase. And then lastly, R3 end of life. We all know that ECC is approaching end of life, and every enterprise is going to have a strategy and a roadmap, frankly, to deal with that. This next chart really just is meant to depict the integration, if you will, between business transformation and the IT landscape. The move to S/4HANA, we view it truly as a business project that's enabled ultimately by IT. So strategic transformations, like along the top, frankly, we talked about mergers, acquisitions, reorganizations, new business models, disruption that comes from innovation and digitalization. All of these things have a direct effect on the value chain or the operations model. And all of those changes ultimately have to be anticipated and supported by IT. So therefore, IT has to transform with the business. This chart also kind of shows the overlapping responsibilities between business leadership and technology leadership. Probably more than ever, this integration and this dependency is here, and more so in this project than any others. The main point in this next chart, frankly, is to drive home the point that the longer you wait, the more complex and more costly your transformation will be. Each new release of HANA contains functionality which just further increases the gap, if you will, between ECC and S/4HANA. Any continued customization or further investment in your ECC, frankly, just drives you further away from S/4. It's very difficult to develop S/4HANA compatible functionality in the ECC environment. And ultimately, the best time to move to S/4 is when it covers your core functionality. Your functionality requirements were going to evolve over time. It's better that they evolve in the S/4 side. So we've talked a little bit about catalysts. Let's talk about some challenges that you're going to face, right? Customizations is one that comes to mind right away. Will they be compatible in S/4HANA? Do you even need them? Do you understand if you're even using them anymore? There are a lot of legacy customizations that have been left behind. What about integration with your third-party apps? Will they still work in the new S/4 environment? Will they be able to interoperate? How do you anticipate the system sizing and the infrastructure requirements for S/4HANA when all you have is your CMO environment to base that on? And then lastly, how do you take all this information? How do you answer these questions and ultimately develop this into a roadmap that's personalized for your organization? So at this point, I'm going to hand you off to Wolfram, and he's going to talk you through our transformation readiness programs that are frankly tailored to address the challenges that we just discussed. Wolfram?
Yeah, thank you very much, Carl. I want to give you an overview readiness program means for us. Yeah. So next slide, please. So first, we are going together with you into the so-called end-to-end design. Yeah, for us, SAP is not an island. It's important that that we understand together the interfaces, the end-to-end service management. Of course, we also need to secure and make it safe. So we will build together the right roadmap, the cloud strategy, everything considering, including network security and IoT, so that the connectivity to the client that are talking to SAP, it's not just the users, it's also other applications that is very clear. Best is to do this together with your business, as Carl has already mentioned, and there you need the awareness in the business that this is a case for them going to S4. Yeah, so S4 will never have a business case. You always need a case in the business that creates the need for S4. Yeah, this is where the success is coming from, and the best way is to build a proof of concept together. Yeah, and create the common understanding of the functionality, etc., together with the business. Next. So we will do this together with workshops, identify critical findings, onboarding the business departments, because as I said, it's coming from them, and enabling the services together. So for that, we have our accelerators in place, where we discuss together with you the ready scan options, and then afterwards conduct it together with you. Have a back to standard approach. You don't want to run self-programmed processes that are already in the digital core included. And there we do also assessments. So next slide, please. So we have those three packages, the so-called S/4HANA Readiness Assessment, then the application optimization, and then finally the smart security for S/4HANA. The readiness assessment is concentrating on understanding the current environment with regards to the move to S/4HANA. Yeah, the capability and compatibility going to S4, the fitness of the business processes, how much are they already reflected in the leading practices coming with S4? Yeah, or do we need to optimize in some areas? Yeah, the S4HANA is doing lots of stuff that is currently has to be done manually. Yeah, so that fitness will be considered, and of course we will look into optimization. The application optimization is coming next. After the installation, etc., we will look into performance and utilization of the system and optimize it to the best experience for the users, and of course also the best link to the other applications. Yeah, automation, standardization, security, everything is a must. Yeah, and this will be addressed in this optimization package. Then furthermore, we go into the security, where we understand the gaps in the extensions that you may have programmed, and going into the configuration. The unauthorized data load is, of course, also always in mind, yeah, and every attack that would be possible. Yeah, we will look into this and avoid that in the future. Compliance is always a must, especially when it comes to, for example, the general data protection, but there are also other compliances in the healthcare, in the public sector, and so on. Next, please. So let's go through the readiness assessment first. The readiness check is covering a scan of the custom developments by category. Yeah. So understanding what has been done. Is this all covering already functionality from S4HANA? How much is it compatible to it? And what functionality needs to be redone in S4HANA? Yeah. So if you have, for example, a brownfield approach, you exactly need to do this, because you don't want to lose the current optimization of your business processes, but you also don't want to reprogram what is already included in the kernel. Yeah. So the compatibility check will help with that as well. As I said, we are looking into the business processes. How much are they already reflected? How much will they be supported by S4HANA and the Fiori apps accordingly? And so where's the optimization in the business coming from? It starts with real time. It goes over automatic analysis of incoming receipts, for example, when you do a PO. Yeah. How are they? Is the delivery fitting to your purchase orders? Yeah, all those things will be done automatically by S4. Then we will also look into safety and availability, quality, and disaster recovery. Yeah, always a must. Yeah, so that we set everything up in the best way. And of course, we'll also look into cost savings that are possible. Next. So we have those packages available as a base package, where we look just into the developed code and assess the in-house developments, and then review the security, compliance, and performance. As a next package, we will look into this very fact-based. So that means we look into all the log files, look into the system data, look into the reports, and create a 360-degree picture out of everything, including the behavior and system sizing, so that we understand the utilization and the usage and can optimize the sizing and everything together. As a furthermore package on premium package, we will then look into the level of standardization, will demonstrate the usage improvements of SAP, because lots of stuff that is currently done in Excel, for example, you can do this in the future directly in Fiori. So you want to create the best use of S4HANA, and of course also the best user satisfaction. So the whole Fiori apps will be determined together with you, and then we go from there. As a package together with our partner SAP, we can look level deeper into the data, into the codes. What is exactly used? What data is really needed? What is legacy? What can be left out when it comes to the transformation? And we accelerate through this the whole transformation. It further lets you also do this pick and choose approach. So you don't have to go either greenfield or brownfield. You can go in between. They call it blue field. So this is also a whole package that we can do together with our partner SAP. Next, please. Now we come to the application optimization. There's a concentrate on cost, productivity, quality, and performance. So the cost, every custom code that we leave out will reduce not just the effort, that will reduce a lot the cost of everything. The productivity will rise because you only use and program on top what is not already in. The quality will also raise because all the modifications that have prevented you in the past in being more efficient, all the modifications will be shrinked to the absolute minimum to what is really needed. And so we will be ready for real time. That's also very important that we look at that stuff. Then furthermore, in the performance area, we enable the expected speed of the workflow. So we look really into end-to-end, that the whole application is running in an optimized way. Next, please. So we have 4 areas. We will reduce the total cost of ownership through minimized maintenance, testing, and downtime. Yeah, so less business impact, less impact for the IT department. Then in the automation and standardization, we will align with the S4 standards. We will do together with you, we will unleash together with you the full potential of S4 functions and real-time possibilities. Then on the next please. So on in the quality, yeah, we will clean up the legacy that is in your new current system included. Yeah, so there might be organizational changes in the past. There might have been a carve in, carve out, and other changed functions. Yeah, so we clean up together with you so that the impact of the past is absolute minimum, that we can really start from scratch when it comes to data, when it comes to functionality. Yeah, that will enable also faster innovation cycles. You can imagine if now a new transport is coming from SAP, a new upgrade. Yeah, the more you use the digital core of S4, the less impact have those updates. And finally, the performance. Yeah, so we will support the growth of the business volumes. Yeah, we will look into big data in the future. We will have to analyze those. Yeah, you even will maybe thinking about Leonardo implementation and all those things. Yeah, so we will streamline the modifications and increase the performance through that way as well, also of the standard processes. Okay, so we will have the SAP application assessment, the analysis of the landscape management report, and we will come up with recommendations and optimization. And furthermore, we can also look at the AMS assessment, so application management services. What can be optimized in the development and maintenance of SAP. Then we can also do the solution manager right sizing. Yeah. So create a roadmap for the standardization and automation of the operating processes. This is IT insight. Yeah. Then the application security. Yeah, very important that of course we avoid any risks. Yeah, and that we secure the whole platform as much as possible. Okay, then smart security. First, we are looking at customized and custom-made SAP programs. Yeah, so there will be gaps. Yeah, and we will look into that so that every hole that has been created through programming not according to leading practices, yeah, that we can optimize that. Critical system settings that will be looked at. Yeah, and also, of course, threats and hacking attempts. Yeah, there might be something in the past that has not been recognized. We will look through this and avoid everything that can be avoided. Unauthorized download, always a problem, not just outside the organization, also inside the organization. You know that most of the security threats are coming from inside. So we will look at those as well and yeah, create, of course, then the right security and access rights for everything. Legal requirements, also compliance is always an issue. Yeah, we will look into that as well. We will help you also with data masking and anonymization. Yeah, because if you let another party, an external party, test your environment, the data needs to be anonymized. Yeah, and we will look into the requirements of all this. Next, please. So everything is of course tool supported, otherwise it would take too long and too much effort. Yeah, so we have a whole tool suite which is looking into the codes, which is looking into the basic security requirements and configuration settings. Yeah, and also analyzing all the log files regarding downloads. We can enable encryption and decryption of the data, especially when it comes to public cloud. This is always a must, because it is a shared environment, and you want to be safe that everything stays there and everything belongs to you and nobody else. So anonymization, I mentioned that already. We will discover cyber attacks. We have system security scenarios that we will look through. And furthermore, we will look into the compliance. GDPR is a big thing, but as I mentioned, also others. It will be integrated in an overall security concept, which is not just covering SAP, which is integrating into your complete IT security landscape. Next, please. So how do we set it up? We will have a security preparation workshop where we define the precise scope, where we clarify all the requirements and illustrate the scope and who will be affected, who will be integrated, and finally coordinate the technical and organizational information that is needed. Then we will set up the security scan and conduct the security scan, and so that everything is 100% covered. And then we do a complete analysis and coming back with a findings workshop where we present all the results and present also possible measures and discuss the next steps to avoid the security holes and to optimize the whole security. Next, please. So I hand now over for the wrap-up to my colleague Karl.
All right, thank you, Wolfram. So let's review a little bit about what we talked about today. First, we started off with T-Systems overview, discussed the fact that we're a platinum certified end-to-end SAP global partner, the fact that we're the largest SAP hosting provider in the world, and that we're recognized globally as best in class by most of the industry advisors. We talked a little bit about transformation, catalysts, and the drivers, basically understanding that this is really a case to the business or a case from the business that are the key, that provide the key objectives for transformation. We talked about the fact that prolonging your move to S/4HANA only increases the cost and complexity. And we emphasized the fact that it requires very tight planning and integration with key business stakeholders. Then we transitioned over to Wolfram, and Wolfram talked about our 3 customizable packages in the areas of system readiness, application optimization. The fact that they accelerate transformation by identifying critical and functional and operational gaps in whether it's in the systems, the applications, and the security architecture. And then ultimately the information from these assessments serve as the input to your roadmap and planning process. So we thank you for listening. And at this point, we'd like to entertain your questions.
Thank you so much, Karl. Thank you, Wolfram, as well, for all that great information. Yeah, we already have a few questions that have come in. Do you mind if I just dive right in for you?
Yeah, let's do it.
Fantastic. So the first one is, what is your biggest challenge to making the transformation to S/4HANA in your experience?
So maybe I answer that part.
You want to take that one?
Yeah. Yes. So the biggest challenge is always to onboard the business. Yeah, as I have mentioned, you will never find a business case going to S/4HANA. Yeah, beside maybe a pure conversion where you don't impact the business at all. Yeah, but you need to create the benefit of S4. Yeah, S4 is a complete new software, and you need to onboard the business. You need to solution together with the business and see how it can be improved. And then, of course, the training afterwards. Yeah. So when you look at the overall effort of a transformation project, it is 2/3 to conduct everything together with the business, and 1/3 is pure IT internal. Yeah. So concentrate on the 2/3, otherwise you will never come to the 1/3.
Very good advice. Thank you so much. Let's see, the next one that came in says, there seems to be a lot of components to the readiness programs. How do we engage with you to get the information that is most relevant to us?
All right, well, I can take that one. The reality is the packages can be customized really to your particular situation. So when I say customized, meaning we can take bits and pieces from the various packages and make one, comprehensive offering or one comprehensive assessment that goes through the areas that are most relevant to you. So we can pick and choose. It's not standardized. We would kick off a workshop and we would go through the areas, identify where your main areas of concern are so we understand your environment. And then we would pull the pieces or the elements of the different packages that fit what we're trying to achieve for you.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Let's see, another one that came in. Can we order the packages separately? And what if we need only one of those results?
Absolutely. We would be glad to have a conversation about that. And we can certainly break the packages down as necessary.
Perfect. Wolfram, did you have something to add as well?
Yeah, we always can downsize or upsize the packages according to the need. Yeah, we will go into a workshop together with you to do a clear scoping. Yeah, and then afterwards we will put a proposal on the table which exactly covers your needs.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Always good to know that we can do right sizing. Another one that came in, how are the results affecting the SAP solution?
So maybe I'll take that. The results will be considered in the SAP design, from a functional and data perspective. So that including the SAP transformation and also for the interfaces and the solution setup. Yeah, so it's affecting the whole picture and the whole design of everything.
Yeah, I would just add, it's ultimately, when it affecting the solution, it's ultimately, these are become the inputs, if you will, to your design process, right? So you have to understand all the information that comes out of these different assessments, what constraints, what considerations you need to account for. We intercept a lot of the legwork by doing this, so you don't have to find out through trial and error. We can tell you up front what's compatible, what's not, what you're using, what you're not. And then those really just go into your planning process as you develop the plan for your organization.
Thank you. Let's see, and we had one more here. Can we also concentrate on the system conversion only and do the business transformation later on?
As I've mentioned, as I've mentioned, that is possible. We have several customers who want to concentrate on doing the must-do first, and doing the system conversion, so that the business is not affected at all. The issue is that the real benefits of going to S4 are always too late in place through that way, because the business adoption is a must, and this is where the benefits of S4 are coming from. So through new processes, to improve processes and possibilities, those will all be not affected if you just do the system conversion. Therefore, a full planning should always concentrate on the business part and not on the IT.
Thank you for that.
I think the only thing I would add to that is expectation management. If you're going to take that approach, then you just need to have good, clear communication with the business to say, hey, we're going to convert, we're going to go to core functionality or as is functionality, and then we're going to evolve and enhance, on the other side. But just setting expectations so that when you go to S4, people aren't expecting everything new out of the box if that hasn't been aligned up front. So.
I'd also like to point out here that it isn't every single webinar that I'm on, especially one this significant, where you can contact the presenters directly. And as you can see on the screen in front of you for all of our attendees, Carl and Wolfram have been very generous in putting their phone numbers and their email addresses directly up there for you. So if you're anything like me and you think of some questions maybe after this session has ended that you would like some follow-up on, maybe just take a screenshot of that right now, and you'll be able to reach out to them directly. Also, just to let you know, after this webinar is over, if there's anything that you're going to rewatch, or if you were in a position where you had to join a few minutes late, not to worry. We will be sending out a recording of this presentation so that you can rewatch it on demand and even forward it to a colleague if you think that it's helpful to them as well. From all of us here, I wanted to thank you, Carl and Wolfram. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with the audience for today. And we look forward to seeing you on another T-Systems webinar coming up very soon. So thank you both for your time today. And again, if anyone has any further questions, feel free to reach out to Carl or Wolfram directly. And if you did ask a question in the chat and we didn't get to it, we will be reaching back out to you if you provided your contact information to follow up with you in that regard as well. So from all of us here at T-Systems, thank you for your time today. Have a wonderful day. And we realize that one of the resources that is most precious to us right now is time. We thank you for spending a little bit of that with us today. So from all of us, thank you and have a wonderful day.
Thanks, everyone.